an hour and a half, and it may have taken me 2 hours to go live because there was other things, calls and stuff coming in, because I'm gathering information about this, trying to assess the situation. But so I did actually this time, and when I can, I will actually do that to warn that I'm going to go live. Danielle is asking your opinion on the CDC recommendation that the U.S. public not wear masks. It seems risky and ignorant. I didn't actually see that. I saw a couple of people posting about it. If the CDC actually said that, I mean, I would want to see it coming from their mouth. If they said it, then I would say whoever said it is probably just angered the entire CDC. Okay. Everyone wearing a mask. Okay, Jeffrey Haynes is saying everybody at Chata Truck Market is wearing a mask. Okay, good. I was told that down at the MRT down in Bangkok that most people in the MRTs were wearing masks, and those MRTs get very crowded. And as you know, a lot of Asians in different countries have a much different idea of personal space than like Americans. Even Germans do. Like Germans will get much tighter on personal space, like to the point where Americans are like, "What's wrong with you, man? You're getting too close," you know. But Americans like space, but like even Germans will get quite tight. But tighter than Germans will be like many sorts of Asians. There's so many cultures in Asia. It's difficult to make any blanket statements because there's thousands of cultures, and I haven't seen thousands of them. I've seen a lot, and but their willingness to get tight obviously different cultures to get tight can affect the infection rate. Mark Oliver says, experts seem to be downplaying the mortality rate of 2 to 3%. Right. Oh, I agree. And also, we don't know what the real mortality rate is because, again, we're getting these numbers from China. And it always comes down to that, do you trust China? And if the answer is no, then that means these numbers cannot be trusted. And if the answer is yes, then that means you can't be trusted. So it's like China simply cannot be trusted. And there's no way to undo that. That bell is rung. China cannot be trusted, period. Good. Gary Carsey said he bought a box of 10 N95 in Cincinnati for $20. Man, it's expensive. But listen, that's the deals you're getting right now, right? And be careful, even when you buy on Amazon. Like I was looking on Amazon yesterday and the day before and today. There's some that are clearly repackaged or from third-party sellers. There's a lot of information that mainland Chinese are buying everything they can get out of some of our, like Home Depot or whatever, getting all the like every case in the store and sending it back to China, right? Which they were probably made in China to begin with. But anyway, I'm actually unhappily surprised if our government doesn't have like, a billion masks, stowed around the United States. And any country that hasn't stowed masks around, we should have, masks in every state and every major, and we probably do, and they need to break them out, right? We probably do, but any country that doesn't is quite irresponsible because we always know at times like this, how many people have been in situations like hurricanes or earthquakes or whatever, and people go, or war, like when I've gone to wars, people will hoard stuff, right? And so, like even at military bases where there's good supplies, if there's any intermittency with supply, like batteries, AA batteries or whatever, like say in Afghanistan, every once in a while there wouldn't be any batteries for say a week because shipment got blown up or something, I don't know. And so then that causes even soldiers to buy all the batteries because they don't want to run out of batteries, right? Now everybody's out of batteries because, Private Schleppy bought, 300 batteries and, and so all these, and so it adds up. And so you have to keep some things, like these masks, you have to have them in advance. They're not expensive if you buy them in the off season and they have a long shelf life. So just keep them. And Michael, do you have help to fill in for people or help you in case you're arrested in Hong Kong? Well, I can tell you, there are a lot of people will know if I don't get off the airplane or if I don't show my face because I've already alerted people. And let's see, in Kentucky, Danielle got some. Good. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Oh, I see Home Depot in Cincinnati. She called it Cincy, but that's a slang for Cincinnati. I've been to Cincinnati many times. It's a nice town. Are limiting one box per customer per day. Good. At least they can't take everything and put it in one cart. At least it makes them go around a few times. It'll slow them down. And stuff like that is effective. Just because it makes them, it'll work. It'll at least slow it down. Good. You got a 5-pack for $14.97, Daniela says. I'm doing a 48-hour fast, Chris says. All right, starting now. Good for you, man. Fasting is great. I think I'm almost finished with my 10th day, right? Because I started at 2:23 in the morning on the 22nd. And tomorrow, well, no, now's the 1st. So I'll be into my 11th day here soon with zero food at all. Just coffee. And I've had some water, a lot of water, and vitamins. And I haven't even had any matcha. Not one bite of food. And guess what? How hungry I am? Not. I mean, today I was like, yeah, I could go out and get some good Japanese food or Thai food. Yeah, I'm in Thailand. So Thailand's got the best food in the world. And then it's also got Japanese food. It's also got Vietnamese food. It's got Malaysian food. This is Thailand. This is like food heaven. And so when you're fasting in food heaven, just think about that for a minute. So I'm basically fasting in food heaven. And if you can fast in food heaven, you can fast in all these sub-heavens of food. Hey, Jacob. And let's see, went to Soviet Union. Cedric was back there in 1988. I want to have anything to do with communist countries. I'm glad that I went to them. It was an experience that I will not allow to happen in the United States. Not while I'm alive. I'll be one of the people that will be like, okay, this is too far. We're going to fight, physically fight. You're not going to take my country, right? I mean, we will not let communists take the United States without smoke in the air. And that's a direct, this is no joke. Would I consider creating a private Facebook page in case your workload gets too much? I have a private one, but I just never use it. Because you have to set up a private one I never use it. Like I use it one time out of every 100 times I use this one. But I do want to set up one private thing for people that donate to me, but I haven't worked out how to do that because I'm not sure there's a good way to do it because a lot of people have donated for years through PayPal. And so I'm not going to exclude them. That's unfair. I mean, some people supported me for like 5 years or 10 years. And then if I only have a private chat room for people that support me in Patreon, that's completely unfair. And so, but I would like to encourage more people to support me because I need it. I can't do this. I'm about to fly back to Hong Kong. It's expensive. I could be arrested. I could, be in the hospital. I could not be able to work for 3 months. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And so in these fighting that I've been in, so much fighting for since June that I was in, I'm just a step away from being crippled or something, and unable to work. So I do need support from people. It's no joke. I've been to a lot of wars and combat. So everything is, very real to me, if you will. Hey, Mary Prophet, one of my favorite soldiers in the world. Can you believe Colonel retired Mary Prophet is a librarian? You should see her in combat it should be on the internet. Look up like NBC, Mary Prophet, Mosul or something. You'll see her out there in a firefight and an IED strike and stuff. And now if you meet her, you would just think like she's just a smart lady and really nice and all that. Really, but you'd never know she's a real combat vet and she's a librarian. It was like, be careful with those librarians. You never know, man. They might know how to use M16, and they might actually have one. She's American. Okay, let's see. Take over from there. Let's see. You're welcome, Matt. I will be hitting the ground again. Well, I'm on the ground. I'm in Thailand. Hey, Steve Goff, one of my old Green Beret friends, a very capable individual. Hey, Tommy. Tommy is on the ground in Hong Kong right now. He takes a lot of great photos. Tommy, if you'll put your link up to your social media so people can find it, that'd be helpful. Tommy takes a lot of great photos. And Tommy gets right out there in the mess. I mean, he gets shot with those rubber bullets and hit with tear gas all the time. He's been shot right beside me once. He got shot twice right beside me, or twice that time, right? No, 3 times. You got hit in the helmet, and then you got hit in the leg, right? And then the shoulder. And then another time you got hit in the shoulder on November 18th, because I remember you had that, because I felt it on your shoulder. You had that big lump. Those things hurt, don't they? I get hit a couple of times. So, hey, Steve, let's see. Hey, Michael Mercado, thank you. Let me see what the rest of your comment says. In Italy this weekend. Okay, you're saying you have plans to meet up with your girlfriend in Italy this weekend, next weekend. Do you think there's an inordinate amount of risk for her flying from USA to Europe right now? I will say that Italy declared a state of emergency. I think they did it yesterday or today, right? When did Italy declare a state of emergency? To find out what that implies, because a state of emergency in America might be different than a state of emergency, say, in Japan or Hong Kong. I mean, different countries have, when they declare a state of emergency, they're basically declaring that the government is going to take more powers to do things like, say, close down movie theaters or close down something that would, cause, in the interest of the group, they're taking more powers. So you need to check into that with Italy. Personally, I would not get on any flights right now unless I have to. I wouldn't be doing it just for fun. Not because of just me. I mean, but yeah, because of me. I love to be healthy, right? And so if I'm not just going to fly around for no reason. I'm going to fly to Hong Kong again, taking substantial risk from between Thailand and Hong Kong. That's going to be a risky flight. Of all the risky flights, that'll be one of them. And so I'm going to wear my mask the whole time. I'll be going with the hand sanitizer. I got some gloves too, so at times I'll be doing one or the other. And so I'll be wearing my mask the whole time, except when they got to see me going through security or whatever. And but I wouldn't get on the flights unless you have to. Because remember, it's not just you getting sick. It's even the young, healthy people that may get sick and just get a cough and a fever for a day and not really be sick at all, not feel it. They do become spreaders, right? And so they can become someone that goes home and kills their grandparents. Hey, I just got in from, Miami. Here I am back in Italy, seeing my grandparents in Italy, and you just killed them. With that virus that you picked up in Miami from some Chinese tourist that just came in from Wuhan. A lot of Wuhan people go to the United States and a load go to Thailand, where I'm at. Michael, been following you for a long time in Hong Kong. Appreciate Michael Mercado saying all your info. I'm deployed security contractor with plans to meet with my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm going right back to Hong Kong, and I'll be in Mong Kok a lot. So Mong Kok is the most densely populated area in the world. And Mong Kok, look it up. I put a link to it already on the previous post or two. And Mong Kok will be, clearly an epicenter for this. And so because, there's Chinese come over the border constantly, and a lot of them go straight to Mong Kok. And trust me, because I've seen them out there for months on end. And so Mong Kok is about to get hit. And I'll be right there seeing what it's like in the most densely populated area in the world. I'll be there unless unless they don't let me in or arrest me or something at the border. Hey, Shu. Russ says mortality appears to be dropping. We don't know that. We don't know that. Give it time. The scientists don't know that yet. There's not enough data yet. You see I'm watching the scientists constantly now, what they're saying, what the infectious disease experts are saying, epidemiologists, what the others are saying, and we don't know that yet. There's not enough data that's reliable. Most of the data at this point comes from China, and that always goes back to those 1, 2. Do you trust China? If you don't trust China, then we don't trust that data. If you do trust China, then we don't trust you. So it's that simple. So we don't know what the mortality rate is doing. Nobody does. Not the smartest man or woman in the world. They don't know with their supercomputers. Because the data's not in yet. Plus, it mutates. The virus will be mutating. Hello in Texas. And hello, and so many folks from Texas. Texas. Excellent Texas. Siri Porn is asking, do I think the situation would be better in 3 months? I'm going to France in April. I'm watching what the experts say. And some of the experts think it'll peak more like May. So no, no, I don't. I think it'll be worse, actually. But that's me. I'm no expert. I only listen to experts. And so, and I try to filter out the quacks and all that and try to use my BS sensors have a really great track record in Iraq and Afghanistan and Thailand and Japan issues with Korea and Hong Kong on calling that an insurgency early. I have a very good track record of either seeing with my own eyes for things that I know about or finding people and figuring out who the bullshitters are and tossing them out and listening to the people that know what they're talking about and say it. And so right now, that's what I'm trying to do. Since I'm not an infectious disease expert, I'm listening to them and I'm trying to sort through the ones that I think know what they're talking about, as opposed to ones that are just talking out of their ass. Sorry for the language. But we get economists do that all the time. We get military leaders do it all the time. Look at all the military leaders who, for so many years, who were like, we're doing fine in Afghanistan. We're doing so fine. And then the Afghan papers came out, a couple months ago? And all those Afghan papers said was what I started writing about in 2006. So you had a lot of military leaders who were saying, hey, Afghanistan's the wrong place to be. It's going to go in the wrong direction. And then you had, those were the guys and women that were ahead of the ball. And then you had others that were like, no, we're doing great there, and blah, 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 and we're not. And then I was saying, we're not doing great. We're not doing great at all. And now it's very well known. So in other words, you have to be, there's a lot of experts out there. There's a lot of experts on infectious diseases. There's not one expert that speaks for everybody. So me as an observer, I must speak proper English, not Southern English. I as an observer must look for the experts that I think are dialed in. They've been paying attention, which takes effort, and they're willing to say things and be accurate. So that's my job at this point, is to see what I see on the ground in Mongkok, the most densely populated area in the world, and to find experts in Hong Kong, which I'll easily do, and then ask them to tell what's going on. And then I have to sort through, do I think he or she actually knows what she's talking about? A good thing about Hong Kongers I've noticed, especially among the well-educated, is they have very good critical thinking skills. Super good. Like Japanese have very good critical thinking skills. They typically do. You can find some that don't, of course. But as a group, they have great critical thinking skills and only sticking to the facts. Like when I'm out in the insurgency in Hong Kong and I ask somebody, hey, what happened? They're very quick to say, this is what I think happened, but I didn't see it. Right? This is what I think happened. I heard happened, but I don't know because it was just on chat. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what I mean? So they're very good at helping me sift through the BS. So what are the symptoms? Maria is asking. It's like a cough and a fever that are big symptoms that apparently seem to happen with most patients within 2 to 14 days of incubation. And the cough and fever will be within 24 hours of each other. And then from there, it can go to muscle pains and other diseases and other symptoms. And typically when the high muscle pains and respiratory distress comes, that's when people are going to the hospital. That's what I'm told. So John is asking if there's any chance biological warfare gone wrong. There's a chance. I don't know how big the chance is. I don't know. I need a phone or email to add. Robert Jennings is saying, I need a phone or email to add you to my bank list to send you money. That's up above. You can send by Venmo, or PayPal, which is my email address. I'll say it. Or maybe somebody can publish it. But it's, or or Patreon. Patreon is the easiest. I know a lot of people don't like Patreon, and I kind of don't like them either, but they're effective because they've just taken political stances on like something that should just be transactional. But my email address is michael.yon@gmail.com. My name is Michael Yon. Last name is Y-O-N, right? So it's Michael, period, Y-O-N, @gmail.com. You can send like PayPal there and other ways as well. Okay, Robert Bowling might be interested. How might this virus affect the protest in Hong Kong, ongoing or on hold? I'll tell you soon because I'll be right back. Actually, I'm monitoring friends and different networks there constantly. They're still protesting. I mean, they're Hong Kongers. They got some spirit, you know. But at the same time, they realize that this is a time where we have to deal with this pandemic. We can get back to the insurgency later. Everybody's getting equally hit with the pandemic, except that the government's going to be hit more equally, let's say, because it's undermining government credibility both in China and Hong Kong. Because, for instance, in Hong Kong, they didn't close the borders down fast enough. There's a lot of things that they've made huge mistakes in Hong Kong, and it's really angered a lot of people that actually were not even insurgents before. And so, okay, I will go ahead and shut it down soon. I'm going to rush down to the bottom. Wow, there's so many comments. How does a Scottish descendant end up with Yon as a last name? I don't know. It's also, there's a French village named Yon, and it's also a Korean name. Actually, my sister and brother did genetic tests, which means I can easily be, you can easily derive a lot about my genes from them. But actually, weirdly, we don't see any Africans in our family line, but there is actually some very small amount of African blood from sub-Saharan Africa. So maybe I'm like part pygmy or something. I don't know. But I mean, so apparently I've actually got African in me as well. So, I'm a minority. And so if you're going to talk about minorities, you're going to insult me. You know what I'm saying? Right. So how much African do you have to be to claim that status? I mean, Obama, he just took half and half and said, I'll take the black half because it'll get me more votes. So I'll just take that 1%. That 1% half. 1% is a half when you're claiming one drop of blood. You know the old one drop of blood rule that has occurred in various situations. Okay. Yeah, Delta, Vicky's saying Delta and American Airlines just suspended flights to China. I saw that as well. And other airlines as well. Thanks for putting that up there, Vicky. And let's see. New Lancet article, Sean is saying estimate 75,000 in Wuhan alone. Other major cities, similar spread, 1 to 2 weeks behind. Yeah. It's going vertical. You can look at the trend. And that's the statistics out of China. Let's see what it does in Hong Kong, because the next line is going to be Thailand, where I'm at now, Hong Kong, where I'm going, and Taiwan are going to get really hit quick right now. Boom, boom, boom. They're going to get hit. I think the worst is going to be Thailand, probably. I'm just guessing that based on having been around Taiwan and Hong Kong and Thailand, and for many reasons, kind of fuzzy reasons. But I think ultimately Thailand will get hit the worst. But that said, there's reasons that Hong Kong could certainly be a lot worse because of the population density in Hong Kong. Population density in Hong Kong, that's a crowded aquarium right there. Mongkok, where I'll be staying, where I've stayed for months, is the most densely populated area in the world. And population density is a key factor in the R0 factor. And so, okay. Yeah, okay. I would just be careful flying. If you have to fly, obviously fly, but wear a mask. Remember, you're protecting your family and your friends and just society by wearing a mask. That's one thing Japanese are really great about. They look out for the hive. You know what I mean? They'll take care of the hive. Like Israelis will do that, which is a good thing about Israel, particularly the Israeli Jews will look out for the hive, which you have to do if you're going to survive in some situations. And this is one of those situations where we have to do the hive mentality or herd mentality, let's say more of a hive. We have to do our little parts If all of us do our little parts and wear masks, we can reduce that infection rate. We can slow everything down, and we'll have much more time to react to it. And the doctors will be happy, and the scientists will be happy, and the kids will be happy because their grandparents didn't die because we didn't screw up and kill all the old people by not wearing masks. I mean, it's very serious. And again, this thing can mutate and do anything. All right, so I'm about to shut off unless I'll read the bottom 10 questions, and if there's one that I need to answer, I'll keep doing it. Okay, Kong Chan is saying follow ASTM standards. It has level 1, 2, 3. Level 3 is best. I know this person, and I know that he does his homework. That's all I'll say. I know that he does his homework. So after he posts that comment that he just did, which is follow ASTM standards, it has level 1, 2, 3, and level 3 is best. HK Medical Personnel is using ASTM level 2. I would take his comment seriously and research it, and 99% chance it's going to come out accurate, and keep that in mind when you're buying masks. You can't get vaccinated for this, Robert. There's no vaccine for it. It doesn't exist. Chong Yu Chun asks, what is your opinion on who... Oh, then it shot up. What is your... your comment shot up when I was reading it. WHO director on the virus outbreak. Do you think his opinion is dictated by Chinese Ethiopia? I was watching some of the statements by WHO. They're like, they got like a Chinese hand up their backside and talking out of their mouth. We call that a sock puppet, to put it in nice terms for children. But I mean, the Chinese clearly, the WHO depends, the World Health Organization depends on donors to survive, right? Like China. And China sets, China is, if you watch what China's doing now, they are making it sound like that, and they've got the WHO carrying their water for them, making it sound like that China is doing all these things to save the world. No, you're not. You're doing it to save the Chinese Communist Party, which could literally, this could be very serious for the Chinese Communist Party on all levels. One is it shows that you don't have security. The Chinese people are smart. They are connected, even though there's a great firewall in and out. There is a lot of communication. Look at all these flights going in and out. There's Chinese people that live all around me here in Chiang Mai. And trust me, they got complete access to the internet. And they're smart and they use it. So it's not like they're in a hermetic seal like the North Koreans generally are. The Chinese, even though they have the great firewall, I mean, they're going to school now at the University of Florida. They're up at Harvard. They're down in the University of Miami. They're all over America, and in many cases, stealing secrets, but not in all cases. But the point is they're not all locked behind a firewall. And so they know what's going on. And so the fact that this is spread and has been covered up by China will not be missed by them, and it's not missed by them. You can see them making videos about it. And this is the sort of thing that can cause governments to be overthrown, especially if the economy collapses. And as you know, when these situations take off, like they've done in Hong Kong, the shrinking economy can create more civil unrest or insurgency, either one or both, right? It can cause that to grow. So the fact that it's growing causes the inputs to grow. The more the cyst grows, the more the inputs to the cyst grows. And so when China starts having these problems with the, people missing work and just dying or whatever, missing production maybe at their factory and not sending products out to Europe and the United States and Japan, and so missing sales around the world for exports, these sorts of things, they add up, and that causes more unrest, which can cause more inputs. So, there's the old timers call it a vicious circle, right? So, alrighty. Some of us are ahead of the ball game. We've been watching it from the beginning, and with a little bit of, obviously, I've been talking about it since the beginning, because it is a concern. It's not, nobody knows. If anybody tells you they think they know what's happening right now, like they know the mortality, and they're saying it with confidence, this is the mortality. They don't know what they're talking about, because we're only getting numbers from China at this point. And it's just now hitting places like Hong Kong and Taiwan and Thailand that we're going to be able to get reliable numbers. And after we get reliable numbers, when Hong Kong gets smashed, which is about to happen, in Taiwan and Thailand, then we can start talking intelligently when the scientists have the proper input numbers to take actual real, garbage in, garbage out. We got to get some proper data inside. Let's see. Yeah. Somebody, obviously under the payroll of CCP, Kung Chan is saying, yeah, there's a lot of trolls here. Not as many on my page as there used to be for some reason. N95, you're saying requires a fitting. Yeah, when you put the N95 on, I should have brought one of my masks. And you just put it, put that metal thing over the metal, push it down, make sure it's nice and sealed in your face. I'll shave, of course. You can tell I haven't been wearing a mask because I'm not shaving right now. Actually, I don't need to shave for my military mask. I don't have like a Sikh-sized beard, But also, I just bought a couple respirators, those 3M respirators. And the reason I got those is because if I go through my whole, the little white or blue ones mask supply and I don't have any of those left, the small ones, then I'll just start using my respirator. The respirator's better anyway, but it's just more of a, it's bigger and by the way, the respirators are available on Amazon. None of those are out of stock. I looked at a whole bunch of them, like in the last few hours. So all these other masks are out of stock. I should have mentioned that to you. You can go and start buying those respirators and buying the filters, and they'll work. I mean, they're going to be even better than the actual mask that I bought. The N95 little ones. You can get the respirators that you use for painting and that sort of thing with those little and there's different types, not just 3M. But be careful when you buy them because there are some hoodlums out there, even on Amazon. But certainly you can buy the painter's masks, and you can buy those filters that I bought a bunch of extra filters. I got enough filters to last me through the summer. So I got enough, and then a little bit more because I already had some in stock, and then I had to outfit some of my people around me. And so I got enough of everything I need to take me into the summer and beyond, because this will probably be going off into the summer. So, and I've also got several military masks. That's another thing you can use, but nobody wants to run around wearing a military mask. Trust me. Like Eric and I and Tommy and like huge amounts of other people have been running around wearing military masks in Hong Kong for months. And you can do it. It's not that bad. I mean, I would do it. Like if all my other masks are not working and I have to go in public in Mongkok, I'll wear my military mask. And, Hong Kongers will just be like, well, there you go. You're making do. And so, but if you don't have a mask, you need to get it right now, and not just for you. You need to get it for your family. Filters for your North Face should I buy? I don't know. I didn't know North Face made a mask. Brian says, how long can you use the 40 millimeter gas mask filters if not exposed to gas or smoke? I do not know that answer, but I can tell you it's a very long time, because I've seen people out there wearing those filters, like Eric wears his filter. Oh gosh, how many times have I been gassed with Eric? I used one like that for a long time, for the first, I don't know, a couple months or something, right? So I got gassed a lot with it, and I never had to change the filter. I spent hours in gas at least, cumulative, and I never had to change it. And then I think Eric's using the same filter. I was like, hey, I think this one's good. And because I think he's using the same one I used. And he's been gassed. Good Lord, Eric's been gassed at least 200 or 300 times. Minimum. Maybe Eric's on this. Minimum, I would say Eric's been gassed 200 or 300 times. That's very conservative. And I don't think he's changed his filter, actually, the 40 millimeter. And I've got a bunch of those. Like I got enough 40 millimeter filters to last me till the cows come home. But I would rather not walk around wearing that thing. But I will if all the other ones run out. So I'm starting with this one, the little, like, it looks like a surgical one, but it's the one that has the metal clip. It's not this surgical one. It's an N95. If I go through all those, then I'll go to my 3M, which is a half face mask. unless I'm in fighting. If I'm in fighting, I'm going to wear my military mask. And then if all that wears out, it'll be like a Stephen King scenario. I'll be in my military mask, and I have I have a lot of extra filters for that too. I don't play around, man. I've seen way too many people die and get killed. You need to be prepared. You need to have water filters. I keep saying that all the time. You know, my Katadyn filters and MSR filters. Always keep those bad boys. Keep enough for your family, of course. And actually, I always keep enough that would be good enough for me and my immediate neighbors, because I know neighbors screw up, you know what I mean? And they're going to need stuff. A lot of the preppers do that too. They're like, I know there's enough for me, but then I'm going to have the zombies knocking down the doors who didn't prepare, right? Not that I'm going to be the stop and go, but that's why a lot of preppers in America get a lot of extra ammunition too. Because if they're going to be the only ones with food and everybody knows it, they know people are going to come for their food and they're going to shoot them. And it's like no joke. So if you're going after a real prepper, you better knock on the door if it's a food situation. Yeah, the filters are worth it. I mean, the filters. Remember, even if you don't use them all this time, that's fine, because there's going to be other outbreaks or something else. And if you don't ever use them, you can give them to your kids or whatever. And don't take the filters out of the containers until you need them. Don't take them out now, because then the clock starts ticking on the filters, right? So my M50 filters for my Avon mask, which is the best mask ever that I've ever worn, those filters is something I've been tear gas with hundreds and hundreds of times with Eric and Tommy. And they've got a little indicator on each of the filters. It's a little circle, right? And it's white. If it turns blue, you should change it. It's no coloration change. And that thing has been through a lot, man. I'll bet you, I would not doubt if I've worn it at least 100 hours. I wonder if Eric's watching this. I wonder if he would agree with that. I think 100 hours is reasonable, or maybe more. And then tear gassed hundreds of times. I must have worn it more than 100 hours, and I've never changed the filters. So if you get the right one, but I see a lot of the Hong Kongers, they get those 3M ones because they can't afford the military ones. They're expensive, and they have to keep changing the filters when they're getting gassed a lot. But I don't know about how often you have to change it when you're just walking around. Hey, fire at will. Brian, 2 Chinese in the room are quarantined with the virus but under control. Papers say. Barry saying are you in Netherlands, Barry? I joked with you the other day and I was like, hey, look at that French flag, because the colors are, it's just kind of I like to joke with Dutch and French people. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. Actually, this much hair on your face, military mask will work. Trust me, it does. But I will shave before I go back. When you see me shaved, I'm getting ready to get on the airplane. That'll be your indicator. Because that this is still on means I'm not going to the airport right now. Because I'm not going to go into an airport without everything on. You're crazy if you go into an airport right now, especially Chiang Mai or Bangkok or Hong Kong or Singapore or over in Taipei or Beijing or any place, man. You're crazy right now if you go. Again, even if you're young and healthy and all that, we don't know. All these people that have gotten sick, we don't know if there's any long-term effects on their bodies. Scientists haven't had a chance to check that out. They just know that the symptoms have finished and they seem to be good to go. Did it do any long-term damage? Nobody knows. And so we will find out. A flag upside down is distress on ships, but our country now to politics. Barry saying that's what the United States does it too. Yes, Netherlands, flag upside down. That's why I was messing. I don't know if you noticed, but the other day you came on and I was like, oh, a nice French flag or something like that, and you didn't comment back. So I was like, oh, man, you didn't hear me say it. I was just messing with you. Because the French flag is, you know what I mean. You're right next door to France. I like Netherlands, man. Netherlands great. All right. You're saying, Barry saying, Italy, the couple has been treated in isolation in Rome's Spalmazzi Infectious Diseases Institute. State of emergency. All right. Yeah, alcohol wipes on the mask. Definitely. And I want to go back to sunlight. I often use sunlight as it's just one of those things that you learn in third world countries and also in the army. You know what I mean? Like, you can sterilize a lot of stuff with sunlight. Mother Nature gives us all kinds of tools if we just know how to use them, like sunlight. If you got nice sunlight out there and you have to clean stuff off, sunlight wipes out a lot of life forms. I don't know if it would be completely effective on this, but I would certainly say it's not going to hurt. And of course, I don't think that I'm going to wildly guess, we need to go ask the scientists, but I think a virus isn't going to last very long in direct sunlight. If Cassie is asking, would I be masking in the U.S. now and not traveling by plane? Yeah, it depends. It depends. If I'm just traveling for, something that's not very important, I would just cancel it. If it's not very important. If it's something that's really, really important to me, I would travel, but I would certainly wear a mask. But only if it's really important. But that could change within about a month. Within about a month, I might say I wouldn't travel unless it's like life or death, or you know what I mean, unless it's super ultra important. Like I'm going as a war correspondent to see, why 400 people died in Gainesville, Florida, or something like that. You know what I mean? In that case, I would take a chance. But in that case, you'd probably have to drive because it'd probably shut down air traffic anyway. But I mean, but we don't know. We don't know how bad it's going to be or how easy it's going to be. Nobody knows. We'll all know at the same time. We're all going to know at the same time. Dave Tolka says UVC. I'm glad Arizona has sun. Yeah, if you ever need to sterilize something, that sunlight, man, that's bad to the bone. Yeah, I even one of my little water kit purifiers I've got is just a UV pin. I don't ever really use it. I use the filters. I use my Katadyn, and I have a MSR. I never really use it. I love the Katadyn. Man, I put enough water through that Katadyn like an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It's building my pecs, man. You get a workout on that Katadyn filter, makes you work for your water. By the time you filter about a gallon, you need to drink half of it. It's not that bad, but it's actually a great filter. But yeah, I would reduce my air travel to only what's important at this point. Like, for instance, there's no way I would take any flight out of Thailand at this point or into Thailand unless it was something really important. And I'm going to Hong Kong. I don't know. Maybe I won't make it to Hong Kong. Maybe they're going to cancel flights to Hong Kong before that. You know what I mean? I might not get out of Thailand. And if I've been thinking about that, how would I get over there? I could go by boat, but that'd take like forever. There's different ways to do it. I could drive. That would like forever. And, I'd have to go through Laos and up through China, and you could do it. But it's an epic trip. And there's different ways to do it. I could fly somewhere else. I could fly over to Taiwan, and there's ways to do it, but it would be like a Dennis the Menace thing. But actually, if they stop flights out of Thailand, I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure out how to do it. All right. And there's no need to think it through now because the situation will have changed by then anyway. I'm going to go ahead and cut off. Thank you, everybody, for supporting my work. I'm about to go to Mong Kok in Hong Kong, the most densely populated area in the world, where I've been staying for months, actually covering this fighting. And that is going to be clearly one of the epicenters because it is so densely populated, and population density is one of the main factors in the spread of infectious diseases. And so I'll be staying there right at the most densely populated area in the world, Mong Kok, Hong Kong. And please hit my Patreon and do a monthly subscription. Very helpful. And or PayPal, Venmo, my Japanese bank account. That's all. You can see it on the links on my Facebook. Hugely appreciate it. Mike out.